So anyway, we'll welcome everybody. We're just chit-chatting here with Tracey Davis.
Hello.
While we wait for folks to start joining, I think we've got close to 100 folks here so far. So we'll just wait a couple of minutes. And Tracey, how's business in the meantime?
Things are going well. Yeah, it's been, I've heard people referring to it as the Corona coaster, and definitely things have been up and down, but in general, things are going pretty well.
That's good.
Which I recognize I am very fortunate for that to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. The amount of engagement online has definitely gone up, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Some of it's people with more time, and some of it's just the realization that this new world is going to be different.
Yeah, it's so necessary.
So necessary. Excellent. All right.
So so many people chit-chatting. I'd love to know where people are coming in from, where they're joining us from. If you want to tell us what city you're in, that'd be great.
Yeah, they're going to come in from everywhere. All right, good. So we're ready to go. Philadelphia, Minnesota, East Lansing, Michigan. Welcome everybody from all over the country. We're very excited to have you. So this is the fourth in our series of interviewing local leaders. And what we're trying to do, my goodness, tons of people coming in here.
Yeah. Ooh, go Rams from Bill in Fort Collins. I went to see a few.
Excellent. And the first couple of them were really about networking. We did one on masterminds a couple of weeks ago. That was super successful. This one, we are really focused on something Tracey's been doing for a good number of years, which is really a marketing business, but it's all around virtual education. So that's sort of super exciting. And just a brief mention on the local leader program. It is for folks that are really adding a ton of value to the small business community and are also very active on Alignable. If you wish to join it, you can email us at localleaders@alignable.com. So without further ado, let me get started, and I'm going to just present my screen. Give me 1 second. And hopefully everyone can see me. Tracey, just say yes if you can.
I absolutely can.
Excellent. All right. So those of you who attended already know me. We're going to go through this really fast, but I'm one of the co-founders and president of Alignable. I'm a serial entrepreneur, technologist, advisor to a bunch of different companies. Super passionate about helping entrepreneurs and small businesses. That's why I started Alignable. I'm also a father of 4 and live right outside Boston. But enough about that. Let's meet Tracey. Take it away, Tracey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tracey Lee Davis. I am the owner of ZingPop Social Media. I am a social media coach and an email marketing manager, and I turn busy business owners into online marketing rock stars. I also am the co-owner of the Women's Networking Alliance, which is a networking organization specifically for women business owners. We have 14 chapters currently, 9 of those in the California Bay Area and 5 in the greater Phoenix area, but we have 2 more coming soon, so that's exciting. I've been doing this since 2014, and I am just so jazzed every day that I get to work with small business owners and help them succeed in making their dreams come true. Because what I have discovered is that small business owners are very passionate about whatever they are passionate about, whether that be dog training, professional organizing, being a baker, whatever that is. They are generally not passionate about marketing. So that makes it a really fun thing for me to be able to help these small business owners succeed in what they love doing.
Yeah, and that's your typical customer, right? Your sole proprietors and service-based folks.
Absolutely. Yeah. The majority of my clients are women business owners who are typically service-based sole proprietors, but I certainly work with men. I certainly work with businesses that are not sole proprietors. So, but that's the bulk of my clients.
Excellent. So tell me a little bit about, and we talked about this right before, the number is quite staggering, but in the time that you have been presenting these educational events, how many total small business owners have you reached?
Well, I was just doing the tallying this morning, and I'm guessing that somewhere since 2014, when I started in January, probably somewhere around 8,000.
That's incredible. And then how many active clients do you have now?
Right now, I have 41 active clients.
41. So, I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to mention too, is I think, you've added a ton of value here. 8,000 businesses have seen your presentations and benefited from you. So, even though that's the top of your funnel and you've built a business, I think that's just fantastic. And then we talked a little bit about COVID, right, as we started, and you said that your activities ramped up a ton since that. So tell us a little bit about how much it's ramped up.
Yeah. Well, at first I was, at the beginning of March, I was a little concerned because typically I book out with clients. So I do coaching clients for social media and then email management. So with my coaching clients that I meet on a one-on-one basis, I typically book out 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Mm-hmm. And when I got back from social media marketing world at the beginning of March, I had, I believe, 3 sessions for the rest of the month of March, which was very, very scary. Mm-hmm. But that, this was also right when everything was starting to get really prominent with COVID. And then as the shelter in place came about for California anyway, I started realizing, or people started realizing, hey, I'm not online at all or enough. And this is right now the only way people are going to find me. And so I started seeing a big ramp up in my consultations for new clients, and then that resulting in new business with coaching calls. So since mid to late March, I've been booked out 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Wow. I've seen a little bit of a lull in the last week, but that's starting to build back up again. Right.
Well, we did have the holiday, and that was it was kind of nice to get a little bit of a break and take that and install this stuff we're going through. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about how you came here. So you told me that you started off in the dog training business, and we got a couple of pictures here if you guys can all see it.
Yes. My life prior to May 2013, everything with college and my post-college career, all was with animals. As I mentioned, as people were signing on, I went
different kind of social media.
Yes. Right? I went to Colorado State University in Fort Collins, Colorado, go Rams. And I got my degree in wildlife biology and zoology. After I graduated, I got a job at the Longmont Humane Society, as well as the Greenwood Wildlife Rehabilitation Sanctuary. And so I was working in both of those places at the same time, really loved what I was doing with the wild animals, but realized pretty quickly working with the companion animals that that's kind of where my heart really lay. And so I, through a series of events, really realize that the vast majority of animals that wind up in humane societies and shelters do so because they're too something. They're too rowdy, too aggressive, too fearful, too shy, too whatever, and people can't handle them and they get surrendered. And so that then became my little mini mission in life, is to make sure as few dogs as possible ever saw the inside of shelters. So
how do you go from there to marketing? How do you go?
It was a very interesting journey. So after I moved back to California in 2003 and eventually got a job at this facility that you can see on the screen. I helped open up a dog daycare business. So we did daycare, boarding, grooming, and training. I was a certified dog trainer at that point. And so I was brought on to be the manager. And so I helped run the business with the owner. The owner had to leave after about a year because of some major medical issues with his family. He needed to take care of his family. So I was running the business.
Oh, so you're running the whole business now?
Yes. And, we went from having one location to having we acquired one of our competitors. And when we acquired that competitor, I inherited their constant contact account. And that's when I had already been doing email marketing. It was pretty awful what I was doing. I was breaking all of the possible rules you could do with email marketing. But I recognized the necessity of it. And so fortunately, because I had that Constant Contact account, I got an email from Constant Contact about an in-person event that was coming up about marketing. It's like, well, great.
That's cool.
I know nothing about marketing, so I'm going to go to this. And, because I eventually went from being the manager to the senior manager to the director of operations. We had 3 locations. We had 50 staff. We had 10 contractors and thousands of clients. And so I knew all about the dogs. I knew all about the customer service side of things, but the marketing, I mean,
interesting.
I went to school for wildlife biology. I did not have a business class in the mix at all.
So there's hope for all of us, right?
Yes.
There's hope for all of us yet. Okay.
And so I started going to those in-person events, and it just really, I very much enjoyed them. I learned so much. And so I kept going. And
so how did you go from there to actually starting to do your own events?
Well, so I got laid off, as one does in the Silicon Valley. And I then took a little bit of time to decompress.
And this is where the Women's Networking Alliance has a key role here too.
Yes. So I got laid off.
That.
And then I, again, got an email from Constant Contact. They were having a big event. And one of the main reasons that I went to that event that day was that they had a free lunch. And as someone who was living off of unemployment at the time in the Silicon Valley with a mortgage, I would take any free lunch I could get. Yeah. So I went to this big event, and they had vendors there. And one of the vendors was the Women's Networking Alliance. And I spoke with the owner, the founder of Women's Networking Alliance. And she actually got me connected to a nonprofit that was there that was looking for a marketing director. And so that got me connected to Women's Networking Alliance. And it is just having someone who is a business owner who takes you under their wing is a really amazing thing. And so Debbie, the founder of Women's Networking Alliance, really, she helped me by giving me basically some part-time work within her company. And she really pushed me to start my own company. And it had looked very different at the beginning. But then realizing that I wanted to work with marketing because I'd been doing social media personally since 2003 with Friendster. Right. For all of you who remember Friendster, that was my first jaunt into social media. And then, of course, the email marketing since 2005. I loved it. That was the last network, thing that I gave up before I left A Dog's Life. So yeah, I just loved it.
Yeah, and your network's been a key part of really bringing you here. And,
yes.
and that's fantastic.
Yeah. So as soon as I said, okay, I'm going to start my own business, Debbie said, great, you're joining WNA. And so I actually joined WNA before I started my business. And my very first client was from WNA. Right. The vast majority, I mean, it's amazing how much support I got from this organization, how many clients I've gotten, how many of them I am their client because, my bookkeeper, my CPA, my acupuncturist, my chiropractor, my massage therapist, my makeup supplier, like all of these different things are women business owners who I've met through WNA. And so I'm pretty sure that Debbie maybe had it in the back of her mind when I joined WNA that eventually she would want to hand the reins over to me. But the great thing is that 2 years ago, actually 2 years ago yesterday, Carla, who's in that picture with me on the top there, she and I purchased Women's Networking Alliance from Debbie, and it's just fantastic.
And so now you have, and this is a fantastic story. And by the way, there is for the women-owned businesses in the audience, there is a women-owned businesses tag, women-owned business, and you can add that, and you can also search for other women-owned businesses from a networking perspective. But the group is fantastic. And And I remember first encountering you. You have two different accounts on Alignable, one for
Yes.
your business and one for the WNA.
Yes.
So just briefly tell us a little bit about your experience on Alignable, and then we'll get right into it.
Oh, yeah. Well, so I started hearing about Alignable. I started getting email invitations back in like Q3 of 2015. And then I joined myself in January of 2016. And there weren't very many people in my area on at that time, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to check this out and see what it's all about. Seems like it could be fun. And now, you know, I don't know how many people were in San Jose at that point, but now in the San Jose community on Alignable, I think there are over 12,000 people.
Right.
So it's growing very fast. And I love the ability to connect with all of these folks who are, you know, because I work out of my home. I don't have a storefront. I don't have a way for people to walk down the street and hear about me. So knowing that I can be connecting with people who are like me in my neighborhood, close by, maybe in my condo complex, that are also business owners. It's really, I love that. I think it's such a cool experience.
Excellent. And so that's exactly why we started it. So I'm glad you found that value, and that's why we're here today. So let's get right into it. You know,
Okay.
Let's get right into it. Let's talk about virtual education, sales pipeline, and the whole 9 yards. So we took, we talked about your funnel. So take us through very high level your business. Tell us
Sure.
big steps, and we'll dive into the details.
Yeah. Well, the single biggest thing that fills up my pipeline are doing educational presentations. I used to do a lot of them in person, so seminars and webinars, but getting in front of people and talking to them and educating them, bringing them value has been the biggest way for me to get clients. So I start off by doing my sessions, whether they are through my own company, Zing Pop Social Media, or I am a class instructor with SCORE. So I've been doing a monthly class at SCORE Silicon Valley since I think November of 2015. And so I get in front of small business owners every month for sure, between Zing Pop and through SCORE. But then I also do a lot of other presentations with other organizations. As the word has gotten out, I get to do more and more presentations. I typically do about one a week. And they are all sorts of different things. But from that, after every single session that I do, I send a follow-up email. I send a follow-up email with the slides of the presentation that I did. If applicable, I send out a video of the presentation. So in case people couldn't make it live, they can watch the replay, give them a couple of resources with whatever we talked about that's relevant. And I always ask them, because since email marketing is such a big thing for me, I want to make sure that the people who I am sending my regular monthly email to really want to hear from me. So for example, for SCORE, because I'm not also allowed to promote my business in SCORE, that's one of their requirements, which is fine. I give people the option to opt in to my email list. So just because they have attended a session with me doesn't mean that they're automatically getting put on my email list. So I give them the option of opting in. And then that has become... and
that list is like a big asset for you. So we'll talk about that in detail.
Yeah. So then I send out my regular emails just once a month. That has turned into a lot of coaching clients. And as this diagram shows, sometimes they go right to consulting from my webinars. I always give people the opportunity to sign up right away for a consult with me so we can start talking and I can start helping them. And so then I also have a subscription, a membership program that people
That's
can.
Super interesting.
Thank you.
I definitely want to talk about that too. So let's dive into the top of the funnel a little bit. So, for everybody watching on the right of your screen, we've got, we'll just go through sort of 3 chunks over here. But one of the things you mentioned to me that was super interesting was that some of your presentations, it's not your content, right? Like if you're giving one a week, you've got to keep it fresh and interesting. So where do you get your content from?
Well, that is the beauty of being partnered with great organizations, is that I get to request content from them and I just present it to my audience. So I am, what I love so much is I'm a certified solution provider for Constant Contact. So I started going to Constant Contact events from a certified solution provider. And now I am one of those people giving those events. I love that so much. So I do a lot of Constant Contact presentations. I requested and received a presentation from Alignable. I have some from just different companies that I have partnered with over the years. And it's all about bringing value and education to these folks. You know, we want to make sure that they are getting the information that they need in a standalone chunk. But then what is great about it is that it also showcases my knowledge and expertise. So if people need more help, then they're able to come and work with me individually to figure out the details.
Yeah, and talk to us about, so, you know, and for the audience here, one of the benefits of the Local Leader Program is that we have a variety of different presentations that we offer up to you. We train you so you can give that to your audience as well. But the important thing you mentioned to me was how you've made it your own, right? Like you take these presentations and it's not like you're drawing on your own experience as you give these presentations.
Right. Yeah. When the first times I'll give a presentation, I tend to stick pretty close to the script that I'm given just because I want to make sure I'm covering all of the right points. But then as I do them more, I am able to much more seamlessly put in my own spin, my own anecdotes and stories about examples of whatever it is that we're talking about, so that I can just be more authentic with what I'm presenting, and again, showcase my knowledge so that I'm not only presenting this great content that is certainly going to be in some way, shape, or form highlighting the original creator of it, but then also highlighting my knowledge.
So Tracy, in terms of the content, right? Even the content that we provide, it's less about selling the product or whatever it is. It's more about really education, right? It's more about best practices and education. So this is not a sales pitch that you're giving. Correct.
What's interesting, so certainly with the Constant Contact content and the Alignable content that I've gotten, it's very heavy on talking about the benefits of doing XYZ or what have you through the lens of that tool, which I think is fair.
Right, sure.
But also the information. So, for example, the power of referrals is one of the presentations from Alignable. And so talking about how powerful referrals are with the backdrop of how you can use it through Alignable, which, I mean, obviously
and it's easy for you to talk about because of your whole business was built on
absolutely referrals. But even if people aren't using Alignable, that information is still relevant. So that's it makes it very valuable because it's standalone information, even if it not through the lens of that product. Now, what's interesting is that I became an affiliate with a social media management tool that I think is really great, and I would love to give presentations through their lens. All of the presentations and slide decks that they put together are incredibly salesy, and I won't do it. I won't give those presentations because I don't think that it's appropriate to just be doing a sales pitch for a product.
And that is absolutely key, right? Like you couldn't have gotten in front of 8,000 small businesses over the years if you'd been out there just peddling sales pitches. That's crucial.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell us about, so that's great. That's on the content side. So the most important question that everybody has, I'm sure, is how do you get people to attend them? How do you promote them? Tell us about that.
That is where being a good marketer comes into play. I have a whole spreadsheet put together of my process of what I do when I'm creating a new event or starting to promote a new event. I make sure, obviously, that if I am creating the event, it has to go up on a platform where people can register. I personally like using Eventbrite, so I put it up on Eventbrite first. Then
and we should mention that these are all paid events, right, Tracy?
the vast majority of events that I do are paid, whether it's paid to me or to, like, for SCORE, I don't make any money. I'm just a volunteer, but
Right.
someone has to pay to attend that event.
Got it.
I did a whole bunch of free sessions in April because I just was feeling so like I need to do something to help all of these small businesses who are so incredibly impacted. But the vast majority of things that I do are paid for somehow, whether it's to me directly or not. But
got it.
So for I do a different I do a webinar the first Friday of every month. So that's always a paid event. I put it up on Alignable, not first. I put it up on Eventbrite first, and then, you know, get it up onto my website. I create a Facebook event. I create an Alignable event. I share it. I share that event on all of my social platforms. I get it out into my regular monthly email. I have an email going out to my I have a list of people who just want to hear about my events, so it goes out to that. And I do a lot of footwork sharing that event within groups that I am a part of within Facebook. Facebook is a big tool for me.
So this is sort of like the once a month big webinar that you do.
Correct. And to some degree, I do all of those things for other events that I'm a part of. So every single event that I am in that's a public event, it goes on my website, it goes in my email, it goes on my Facebook page. And the ones that I am promoting for me get extra attention.
Right, of course. And then the email that you send once a month, you know, also mention all the events that are coming up the next month, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. My event email, I generally highlight my webinar that I have coming up, and then I list the other things happening that month. So my event email typically comes out the first week of the month. So I believe actually my event email came out yesterday, or maybe it's coming out today. I don't remember. It's scheduled in advance. And so then I have all of these things set up so that I have my process down.
Yeah. And so, you know, even let's talk about sort of the fact that, and you mentioned this to me also, that it's not that you get hundreds of people attending these events, right? Like sometimes you get like 4 people attending it, and that's perfectly okay as far as you're concerned. So tell us about that part of it.
When I first started doing sessions at SCORE back in 2015, I think that they didn't have somebody coming in and doing presentations about social media and email marketing on a regular basis. And so the sessions were filled with more like 20 people. And now that I've been doing them over time, you know, since then, and I'm there every month, I change the topic every single month. It's always something about social media or email marketing in general, but it's a different topic every month.
Got it. Within that,
I tend to have much smaller sessions now. I would say the majority of my sessions are around 6 people, but sometimes I have 2. You know, sometimes I have 12 or 15, but I have smaller audiences. And at first I was really unhappy about that. I was kind of self-conscious, saying, oh, why don't people want to come to my events?
Right.
But the thing that I have learned is that having those small groups is actually really good for me, because then I get more one-on-one time with these smaller groups of people. They can ask me more questions. They get to know me better, and that makes them want to work with me because I am demonstrating that I have all of the answers that they need. And so then they're like, great, sign me up. How can I do a coaching session with you? So I get, when I was doing them in person, I would get really great conversions. Definitely still happening with webinars. I'm thinking specifically about SCORE right now. But yeah, with those small group classes, how does it work? You know, obviously when you're in an audience and you've got sort of a very intimate setting, you know, 6 people, and you're in person, you get a certain amount of interactivity. How does that work online with the 6 faces in front of you on a Zoom meeting? Well, I definitely do my format a little bit differently. When I'm in person, I am, if I have plenty of time, I am okay with people interrupting me and asking questions and having more of a dialogue. But when I am doing these sessions online, I can easily get derailed by getting
Right.
questions. And, so what I typically do is I say, hey, I'm going to keep you muted during this presentation, but please feel free when you have a question, put it into the chat or note it down at home. And when I am done with the session, then I'll go through and look at all of the questions that have come in, and you'll be able to unmute yourself and you can ask questions all you want.
It's less interactive. So you kind of deliver the entire presentation.
Right. But I still get questions coming through, and, after with like a lot of the sessions that I'm doing now that are on all of these online sessions, they're generally about an hour long. So I try to make sure that any presentation that I'm doing is somewhere between 35 and 45 minutes so that we have time for questions at the end. And we definitely get people who are asking questions at the end. And especially the thing that's really great with doing everything online is that now I can easily go into demo mode. So if I'm talking about social media, I can pop over to Facebook or Alignable or Instagram or whatever and show people things right there. If we're talking about email marketing, I can just hop into my Constant Contact account and show them how to do things. Whereas doing that in an in-person setting, it was a little bit more complicated to do that easy transition between my presentation and the thing I would be demoing.
Do you get sort of a different type of questions, more questions online, get less? I mean, how is the quality better?
I don't necessarily think there's a difference in quality, but certainly at the beginning of all of the COVID shelter-in-place stuff going on, and people weren't as familiar with the technology, there were less questions. I think that, people weren't comfortable with chatting. They didn't know where to find the chat. They didn't know how to unmute themselves. They, all of the moving pieces of working with Zoom, for example, was just a little bit overwhelming for people. And so they weren't asking as many questions. Now I'm finding, now that the world is basically getting comfortable working on online web meeting platforms, that people are getting back to asking questions. I'm seeing more chats coming up while I'm giving presentations. And so I know, okay, great, I'm going to have things to answer when I get to the
incredible. It's just within a couple of months, we are all online and just fluid with all these tools.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen? We will get the vaccine. That's all going to happen at some point. And then we'll all go back as well, doing physical and digital. What do you think your life is going to be? How much physical, how much digital are you going to do?
Well, while I am loving not driving in Silicon Valley traffic, I am a very extroverted, outgoing person, and I miss seeing people in person.
So you need that fix.
Yeah. However, I have Lyme disease, so I am an immunocompromised person, and so I'm definitely not going to be the first sweep of people going back out. So right. I am fine with the fact that I will be homebound for a while longer, but I also know that I can completely run my business from my home and have it still be totally successful doing it that way.
So, and it looks like it's doing even better now. Than it ever was,
Yeah, because people are just really realizing that they just don't have the online presence. Some people were relying completely on people coming into their store or seeing people face to face or networking groups or whatever it may be, which all of those things are great. And I wouldn't ever say don't do those things. But if that's all you're relying on and you didn't have anything in the digital space, then those folks were really hurting right away.
So for the marketers in our audience, right, this is a time to really help our small business owners get online, right? And some of them will become customers, but you're going to, like Tracy, you're 200x the number of people that are your clients you've helped, and that's incredible. So let's talk a little bit about sort of the email nurture side of it. So you do all these webinars. There's an email follow-up. So you've built a nice email list over time.
Yes.
And you send this monthly newsletter. So, how do you keep that interesting? you know, because you got a certain number of things to talk about. How do you sort of provide value in that email program every month?
Sure. Well, I listen to my own advice and
That's good.
I keep things short and sweet and to the point. People don't have a lot of time. They don't want to read a novel when you send an email. So
Yeah.
I adhere to the best practices that I am continuously learning about through Constant Contact and other means. I get recertified every year as a certified solution provider, so I have to stay up to date with everything. And the current best practice is 200 words or fewer in an email. And so maybe you've noticed, am a bit verbose. I enjoy talking. I don't have a problem at all going on and on and on, but I know that people don't want to read on and on and on. So I try to keep things short and sweet and to the point. I try to make sure that I have no more than 3 things in my email and just little snippets so that people can scan quickly. And then click more to read more for whatever they're interested in.
Right.
I send my email out generally the last week of the month, just because that's the way it worked for me. No particular reason other than that. And when I look towards what sort of content I'm going to put into my email, obviously think about if there's some sort of relevant theme going on, like Small Business Saturday or Small Business Week or whatever. But then I also look back at my post on social media from the last month and see, okay, what did really well? What were people really interested in reading? What got the most engagement? And I'll typically take one of those posts that performed really well on social media and put that in my email, because I know that my social media followers are not exactly the same as my email list. So, and even the people who are on my email list, who are still on social media with me as well, can't guarantee that they actually saw it. So,
and you have told me that you found folks that attended your presentation years ago that come back and become customers.
Yes, this is the thing I love about email so much. I mean, my business name is Zing Pop Social Media. I love social media, but I will never stop email marketing. It is such a valuable tool. I love it so much. So I often get emails in response to my monthly campaign that I send out saying, hey, I went to one of your SCORE classes, back in 2017. I'm finally ready to work with you. And so that's the beauty of getting people on your list who are interested in your content, because you can never predict when they're going to be ready to work with you. And so if you stay top of mind, if you stay in front of them, if you're providing relevant information that's demonstrating your expertise and helping them out, then when they are ready to invest and spend money with someone, you're going to be the obvious choice.
They'll get in touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do you prevent sort of a lot of marketers have this situation where, they have all this talent, they have these, skills, and it's easy for sort of folks to sort of keep asking them these questions and sort of get free advice without necessarily thinking about it. So how do you,
well,
take care of
that? While I don't have anything formal in place, if someone is already one of my clients and paying me for help, whether it be with email marketing or social media, they will get more leniency from me. If someone asks me a quick question and it's something so easy to answer that's not going to take me, having to look anything up or anything like that, I'll generally respond back like, oh, you just need to click here or whatever. I want to be helpful, but I also am very good at protecting my boundaries. So that was one of the awesome offshoots of my membership program. Is I have a private Facebook group that's only for my members. I have
your subscription, right?
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
Yeah, so I have 3 levels of that subscription, but all of those folks get access to my free Facebook group. And so I have I have trained all of my group members that if you have a question, ask it in the group, because then that can get handled there. But I was spending a lot of time fielding a lot of questions from people who are my friends, networking connections, who felt really like, hey, I can ask you questions anytime I want. And so if it gets to a point where people are clearly taking advantage of that, then I say, hey, sounds like you need some more help than I can give through an email. Let's set up a coaching session. Here's the link. Sign up whenever you want. And that either will result in getting a coaching session, or it will result in me not being pestered by people who are trying to get advice for free.
And they may not know. And
right.
You strike the right balance, which is you help them out as much as you can, and then you draw a boundary, which is really cool. And so tell us about this. I found this super interesting. You've created a subscription, so you get a monthly revenue from some of your customers. And I love the Zing Pop in your PJs bit. So tell us about that a little bit. How'd you do that?
So it's Friday mornings at 8:30. So that's why it's Zing Pop in your PJs. I highly encourage people to wear their PJs during our sessions.
Yeah. And do they wear their PJs?
Yes.
All right.
For a little while, I had a group of members who always were in their bathrobes, and it was just fantastic. But I do have people from all over the United States who are in my membership. So, while it's 8:30 here in California, it's 12:30 on the East Coast. So is that right?
11:30, but
I can't do math.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm not a math person. So
you can't really be in your PJs at 11:30.
Right.
Although these days with quarantine, who knows? So
it's PJs all day long.
Yeah.
But so I really started it because I needed an immediate way to make some extra revenue because of just life situation. And so I put it together as 3 tiers. I have my bronze level is free, silver level is $75 a month, and gold is $120 a month. The silver membership, I'll explain what that is. You get a consultation with me just to talk about your needs, then access to the exclusive Facebook group. You get all of my video on demands at a discount, the monthly webinar that I do, and then 3 group coaching sessions. And so gold gets all of that plus a private 30-minute coaching session. With that, the silver and gold members, we all meet together on Friday mornings, the second, third, and fourth Friday of the month. We hang out together, and everybody gets the opportunity to introduce themselves. So say who they are, where they're from, what they do, and then they get to ask their big burning question of the week about online marketing. Most of it's social media, definitely some email marketing. And then we have some other stuff come up like SEO and just other things that are more like task oriented and productivity sort of stuff. But the bulk of it is social media and email marketing.
I love, what I really liked about this, Tracey, was that it relates back to what Sue said about masterminds, right? Like these folks are also, your clients are learning from each other too. It's not like you answer all the questions.
I do not, and I love that. And so the thing that's really great is that both in the online sessions and in the Facebook group where all of my bronze members are as well. And I have about, I think I have 11 paid members right now, which is fine because I don't want it to be huge as far as the groups because I want to be able to manage that. But I have, I think, over 400 people on my email list for bronze. And I have about, I'd say about half, 200 plus in my Facebook group. And so the thing that's awesome is that people will ask their questions in my group, and I'm not always the person who answers it. I have some veterans in my group who know a lot about marketing because either they came in with it or they've learned from me, and they get to answer those questions.
So you've created a little mini sort of trusted community of your own, right?
Yes.
Where they can help each other. How did you come up with the pricing, Tracey?
So when I was putting it all together, I was reverse engineering it. Like how much money do I need to make every month because of this situation happening in my life? How much do I need to make for that? And so then I broke it down into, okay, how many people do I think I could manage in an online group? Because while, I mean, it would be easy to say, great, let's have 50 people in there, I wouldn't realistically be able to manage answering questions from 50 people. So I was thinking, in an hour's worth of time, I could handle questions from 10 people. I could give value to 10 people. So then I broke it down to, all right, I'm probably going to have more of the second tier versus the highest tier. So, you know, I did, I think, about a 75-25 split on that, and worked out. I did some math on a spreadsheet and, you know, how much are these different services worth? How much are they, and how much do I need to make per hour to feel like I am getting paid what I'm worth, you know? So stacking all of those things up, that's what it all worked out to for me, is the 75. Well, actually I started it at less. I think I started out at 50 and 95 the first few months, just because it was a brand new program and I was trying to get people in. But then I bumped it up to 75 and 120. And, you know, telling people you get 4 hours of my time every month for $75.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah. And the great thing is that,
and plus you get the community, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I really feel that all small business owners are worthy of getting help, not just the ones who can afford to spend X amount of money every month on whatever. I want to make sure that those little guys who are just getting started, who don't have a lot of money in their budget for marketing, can still get help, because they're the ones who need it the most. And then if 75 legitimately is too much for them, great. I have the free membership and they can be in there. They get the free folks get a discount on my webinars that I do, so they can attend those if they want at a discount. They get the discount also on my on-demand videos. They get the access to the group, which is the big thing for them. Oh, and everybody gets a content idea calendar. So if they need something to post
anybody who's in your group.
Yeah, they all get that every month, so that they can, you know, get some ideas for what to post about on social media.
Fantastic. All right. So we have a ton of questions. We went just about 5 minutes long. We have a ton of questions. So let me sort of get them all in front of you here. So, we, you know, apologize in advance. We may not be able to get to all of them. There are a ton of questions here. So, what Eves asks, what is the hardest part of your marketing process? Is it the introduction of your brand, the sales pitch, or landing a client?
I would say, of those, the thing that I've gotten pretty good about all of them at this point. But I would say that the sales pitch is probably the one that I don't do the best on, like directly asking for the sale, because I try to let my expertise speak for me. But what I have found is that if I can get people into a consultation, I offer complimentary consultations, 30 minutes over the phone, discovery sessions. Basically, I don't do any coaching, and I'm very clear about that.
Sure.
If I can get people into my coaching or my consultations, I believe, if I remember correctly with my numbers, 90% of those people become clients.
Got it. Got it. How much do you charge for your webinars, and how long are they?
Great question. I get asked this a lot. They are an hour long, and I charge $25.
Got it.
And so for the gold and silver, that's free. It's included with their membership. Bronze gets a 20% discount, so they only pay $20.
Got it. Do you do paid Facebook ads?
You know, I have some going, but I don't do a lot.
Got it. So you've managed to get to a place where you can sort of, through the email list and your promotion stuff, you're able to get quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Bill asks, how do you see the challenges to sales, marketing, HR, and leadership today as all are integrated? Not sure how to.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how to answer that question, Bill. Tell you what, Bill, could you clarify that again in the comments, and we'll come back to this. This is, of course, a canonical question. What is a good email list in terms of the number of emails? I get asked this a lot.
Oh, you know, that completely depends on your business. You know, I spoke with somebody recently who was like, you know, I want my email list to have, you know, 10,000, 100,000 people on it. It's like, well, could you manage it if even 1% of those people wanted to work with you?
Yeah.
So you don't want to, it all depends on what you offer, because of the fact that I offer something that I do with my coaching sessions for social media, my email creation, or my membership. I don't have any employees. I do it by myself. So I am very happy with my email list of, I don't remember what I said, 3,000 or 4,000 people, because that
you've built over time. So it's sort of a high quality list. And that's
absolutely. I absolutely would much rather have a smaller email list of people who were raving fans than a huge list of people who don't know who I am.
Right. Let's see. So regarding score, what's the sense if you're not making money from the one that you're trying to help?
Well, part of it is that I enjoy volunteering and giving back to my community.
It's a little bit of a volunteering thing, right?
Yeah, I count that as volunteer hours that I'm giving back. And I, while I don't get paid for presenting at SCORE, I always get clients out of it. It is a big source of new clients into my pipeline.
You're probably building up a reservoir of goodwill over there too.
Yes.
Right.
And because of the fact that I volunteer at SCORE, the people at SCORE love me. They recommend people to me all the time, even if they haven't been to one of my classes. Because of my relationship with SCORE, I got connected to an event that then led to me meeting someone at eBay, that then led to me becoming a presenter at eBay Open for the last 3 years, which netted me a lot of money getting paid there. So I will gladly volunteer at SCORE because it leads to great things.
Right. I mean, it's a win-win all the way, right?
Yeah.
This is a really interesting question. Dave's asking, what do you do if, and I don't know if this is related to the SCORE question, what do you do if they don't listen to your advice? That's an interesting question.
Well, you can't make people do what they don't want to do. And that definitely happens sometimes. I get hired by people who don't want to do the things that I'm recommending. And I say to myself, you know what, I'm getting paid for my time, regardless of if they listen to me or not. So that's something that I have to accept, that I am going to help someone the best I know how, the best of my abilities. And if they don't want to take my advice and follow my instructions, then I can't make them do that.
Yeah.
And they're not the client for me. And I'm okay with that.
Lead a horse to water.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of folks are super interested in your subscription level. I'm getting a bunch of questions here about, so you've got the bronze, silver, and gold.
Mm-hmm.
And bronze is free, silver is $75 a month.
Yes.
And gold is
$120.
$120 a month. Okay.
And I have all of the information about this. You are all welcome to go check it out on zingpopsocialmedia.com.
Excellent.
Under the membership tab, I have everything laid out about what I offer. And I have talked to many people about setting up their own membership program. So please feel free to, maybe not directly plagiarize my page, but please feel free to copy elements from it if it will help you with your own membership program.
You're very generous. Thank you, Tracy.
Yeah, no problem.
Let's see. So what about the funnel on the screen? Are those top of the funnel events always paid? In other words, is the business owner paying somebody? So even the SCORE events, right? They're
right. Let's see. So I do events, honestly, there are some events that I do that I don't know if people pay for or not, but I have been hired and I get paid for it.
Got it.
But and of course, me personally, I offer free things to my members a lot. Certainly in the last few months, I did a big series of events in April. And the thing that is nice about that is that they are still there in my Facebook group, so people can go back and watch them anytime they want. I did a number of free sessions specifically related to COVID that I put on my on-demand page on my website that anybody can attend.
Sure.
They're free there. So I want to be as giving as I possibly can, while also recognizing that I am a business owner that has a mortgage to pay in the Silicon Valley. I am single and I am chronically ill. So I've got to take care of myself and bring in money, but I also want to help whenever I can. Yeah.
It's business. I totally get that. So we're coming up on 55 minutes. Thank you all for sticking around. There's a bunch of people still there, and there's still questions coming in, but we should sort of draw this to a close. And what I would encourage folks to do is apply to become a local leader. So it's localleaders@alignable.com. Apply. There's only certain sort of things that there's a limited number of people that we're allowing into the program right now, but it's a super effective program. You get a lot of benefits, and it's really a benefit to the small business community as well. But there will be some blogs, there'll be some announcements. So definitely there's a bunch of different things we're planning to do. So stay in touch with us there. And I would really like to thank you, Tracey. That was very informative and useful. I hope all of you liked it, and we will see you soon at the next one of these sessions.
It's absolutely my pleasure. So thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. That's that. See you guys.
Take care.
Bye.